So as Russia intensifies its war on Ukraine, it's also escalating its so-called shadow war against the West. Over the weekend, a railway line in Poland that was a link to Ukraine was sabotaged, and Polish officials say Russia was behind that attack. Some NATO allies are urging the U.S. government to take this Russian threat more seriously.
Yeah, they're warning that its military is already beefing up its presence along Baltic and Finnish borders. Among those is the foreign minister of Estonia. He has called Russia's war a, quote, attack on the entire transatlantic security architecture.
And Estonia's foreign minister, Margus, Tsahkna, joins us now here in studio. Minister, thank you for coming in to speak with us. We appreciate it. I know earlier this week you spoke in front of what's known as the U.S. Helsinki Commission. Talk about what your main message was about Russia during this hearing.
Yes, indeed. The Helsinki Commission hearing was very important for us to explain what is really happening in our region. US and Europe, we are together in the NATO, and Russia is more aggressive against NATO. It's not only about Ukraine, as we saw before as well, the more attacks. So in 19th of September, we had a very brutal violation of the airspace. 3 fighter jets ready to fight entered to Estonian airspace, which is actually the NATO airspace, for 12 minutes. We have lots and lots and more this kind of hybrid attacks. I don't like the word, actually. These are the attacks which are not reaching on the Article 5 level of NATO when all the allies should act. And as well, this Polish attack, we can call it, happened. So Russia is putting pressure on NATO as well, testing our unity, testing our military capabilities, and as well trying to divide us. I think that the main point is to divide Europe from US. But I can say that we are very much united. And as well, President Trump has been very clear about being committed to NATO, and also we called, after this heavy violation of the airspace, the NATO Security Council meeting. And after that, President Trump said very clearly that next time, if Russian planes are coming and there will be the immediate threat, then we'll shoot them down. So we need to put this kind of red lines in place, because Putin is just pushing not only Ukraine, but us as a western part of the world.
Can you expand on how you feel about this Trump administration as a partner? Is it a reliable partner to you, to NATO more broadly? I know you've called on U.S. government leaders to stop being cautious, was your word, when it comes to Russia. What would you like to see?
I was defense minister 2016-17 when Trump was first time in office, and at this time we got more troops, more military support to our region. And what we see now as well, that because of President Trump, NATO European allies are now paying more and investing more to defense, and this is exactly what we Estonians and the Baltic states, we have been talking to our friends in Europe already more than 15 years. So this is a good thing. We have as well US troops, and during this review, US troops in Baltic states and Poland will remain. So in that regard, of course, I'm absolutely confident that the US is committed to NATO, and of course, US is our strategic partner for that. So I have no doubts that if Russia is doing anything against NATO, NATO will act in united ways.
We know President Trump met with President Putin in Alaska earlier this year, and then there was talk of this potential face-to-face meeting between Putin and Zelensky in Hungary. That fell apart. Would you like to see something like that happen? Do you think that could start the process of bringing an end to this war?
Yeah, I think that many people lost lots of nerves during these processes because President Trump really gave an opportunity to Putin to start the negotiations. But as we see, Putin is not changing his goal. And it's not about some territories in Ukraine. It's about European defense security architecture. It's about actually asking more. And now we see more pressure from European side. We have both 19 packages of sanctions we prepare for the next level. As well, now President Trump has decided to put the largest energy sector companies under the sanctions, and now discussing as well the secondary sanctions to these countries who are having any kind of business with Russia. So this is the only way to put pressure on Russia to Putin, because Putin is not gaining any strategic breakthroughs on the battlefield, and his economy is very weak. So I do hope that it will continue. Of course, we are hearing every day about the new peace plans, but I must say very clearly from our perspective that the territorial integrity principles, sovereignty principles must be there. nothing can happen without Ukraine, about Ukraine, and also about Europe without Europe. So let's see. But this pressure is needed right now. I was in Ukraine just 1.5 weeks ago and talked to President Zelensky as well. It will be the hardest winter for them because it's not the situation on the battlefield only. It's about attacks against the civil people. It's attacks and systematic attacks against the energy system. So can you imagine the weather is worse than in New York and people are there.
You mentioned those fighter jets that had entered your airspace for those 12 minutes. In addition, we also saw last month that Estonia closed a road that passed through Russian territory. If you could just sort of put some context around this. And it was because Russian troops had built up in that area. You said that Russia was being assertive at the time. Do these incidents make you concerned that this war, even in small ways like that, continues to spread? What does that mean NATO needs to do?
The one thing I would like to be very clear is that Russia is stuck in Ukraine. So they have sent all the troops there. They have had lots of casualties. So I was defense minister in 2017. We saw the other side of Estonian border, 120,000 troops ready to go within 48 hours. These troops are gone. They're literally dead. They're sent to Ukraine, not existing. So Russia has no full-scale capabilities the other side of NATO border right now. But Russia is testing about all kind of like hybrid actions inside Europe, not only in Estonia, in Germany, in Denmark, everywhere, in Poland in this case again. So as well the border, I think that our border is one of the most secure border because Russia is using people as weapons, refugees pushing through across the border, and this is what we are witnessing now across this line. But as well I sent out the Russian embassy first secretary, who is one of the most important after the ambassador from Estonia, because this guy literally mediated the Russian Secret Service actions to Estonian territories and, hiring people. We have close to 20 people in prisons because of that. Because, we see every different levels of actions in Europe. But we are not, I can say, of course, we are concerned, but we are ready because we know Russia well. We have been living there a very long time. And if anything is happening, so-called hybrid crossing the border, so green men and whatever, we just shoot them down. Yeah. This is exactly what we do.
You met a couple weeks ago with your Chinese counterpart. Real quickly, what role do you see China playing in trying to bring an end to this conflict?
Yes, I had a great opportunity for 2.5 hours having a very deep meeting, and I pushed heavily as well this topic that China is actually the main enabler for Russia to wage the war. And I call up as well China to follow the principles because, territorial integrity and sovereignty, because they are the United Nations Security Council permanent member. Of course, China's talks are like this, that they don't know anything about it. They are not part of the war. I asked as well that actually 80% of your, this drone technology is coming from China. So we know what China is talking about, but we need to understand and push China as well under pressure that they should buy less gas and oil from Russia and replace it with US or some others. But I don't see it right now there because China is using Russia, keeping us busy and also owning Russia economy more and more. So for China, for China's 1,000-year plan, it fits well.
Got it.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.